if I knew they were out, I never wanted to like seriously hurt anybody. But I'll give you one or two more just to make sure.
Make sure you get that win.
That's it.
Athletes, entrepreneurs, and those who've embraced the necessary change for the better. They've endured, discovered, rebuilt. But what about you? Are you waiting for life? Or is life waiting for you? This is the Come Up.
What's up, guys? Octavio here with the Come Up, and today, man, like every single time, I try to push it a little more. And we got a mixed martial artist that I've been following, man, since I was a kid. Man, I got goosebumps, man. I love seeing you in the gym. Your work ethic is by far on point. Lately, we're gonna talk about that. But Anthony Rumble Johnson, man, welcome to the show, man. What an honor.
Thanks for having me,
bro. I'm gonna fanboy out a little bit, man. This is insane. Dude, I've always, since you stepped up on the scene, man, you were the guy, Mr. Knockout Power himself. Mm-hmm. But I want to know everything about it. I want to know the person, the drive. I want to hear about the story, basically the come up, man. And what are you doing now? Because you just dropped 50 pounds. We're going to talk about what's the motivation behind that.
Let's talk about it all.
And let's just have some fun, man.
Yeah, so. I'm with. Let me be polite and spit this gum out. You know,
it's all good, man. Get comfortable.
So yeah, man, everything's been great. You know, I've been in here training. You know, trying to get this weight off.
Ass off. So yeah, dude.
Man, you know, I was 280, pretty much back in. Oh man, I want to say July, August, something like that. I did my first grappling match after 2 years of doing nothing.
Just relaxed, took
nothing.
off.
I mean,
on the
you know,
couch.
I was lifting weights and stuff like that because I wanted to be a bodybuilder.
Right.
And tried to go that route.
Not your thing.
I mean, I love it. I truly do love it. I love being in the gym.
Right.
But I just needed something more grinding besides pushing weights. Okay. You know what I mean? Something more challenging. To me, weights challenge me, but nothing challenges you like another human can challenge you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I needed that. So saw the Daniel Cormier fight with Stipe, the second one, and out of nowhere, it just lit a fire under my ass, and I was like, I gotta fight. Just like that.
Just hearing you say that, man. So that's it.
Like before then, I had no desire to compete. No, but I saw, I think maybe 3 fights the whole time I was retired.
Right. And
the whole time I knew I could still hang with the best, but I just didn't want to, you know what I mean? And then once again, I saw that fight and I was like, I got to fight for some reason. So ever since that night, I've been going crazy in the gym.
But dude, I've been seeing you in here, man. Yeah. You've been crushing it. You're hanging out with the champ.
Yeah, Kamaru.
He's a good friend of yours. You guys are super close.
I saw him whenever he first came in the gym. He didn't know how to throw a punch. He didn't know how to throw a kick. Didn't know how to do anything but wrestle. Yeah. He was a wrestler. And he came in and we didn't know that was the future. You know what I mean? Because he had no fights. He had nothing but wrestling credentials behind him. And like me, I wrestled in college too. And
I want to talk about that.
Yeah, majority of us wrestled in college.
Well, that's what makes you guys different, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the sport headed and had to be. Mm-hmm. Because if you didn't have a strong wrestling background, you couldn't hold your own against the Brazilian. Mm-hmm. And that's the grapplers, right? But all of a sudden, you showed up, Rashad showed up, strong wrestlers came up, and they had to learn how to stand up and bang.
Exactly.
Right? And that's all your basis was, okay, the work ethic, strong sparring, you know, like stopping that takedown. But that's what made the difference between that generation, right? Because now everybody's like mixed martial artists from day two.
2 years old, and then they're like in the gym.
KJ Noon, stuff like that.
Something crazy.
These guys have been like doing everything mixed, but that generation, when you came in, and all these guys were like strong wrestling, and that's what separated everyone else.
You know, Matt Hughes was the one that kind of, in my opinion, started the whole wrestling thing.
Absolutely.
You know, you got Randy and, you know, other guys like Sean Shirk. You know, he was a phenomenal wrestler, but I don't think anybody did it the way Matt Hughes did it. And then after Matt Hughes, it was GSP, and nobody was
touching him.
No, nobody. Even if you took him down, they were like, you get 1 out of 20. That's it. You know what I mean? And if you got that one, hey, praise God, because nobody gets that. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
But, you know, after him, it was just, you know, Johnny Hendricks, then Robbie Lawler. I don't know if Robbie's really a wrestler, but he has great takedown defense. But everybody knows he'll knock your head off before he wrestles you. You know? And
I don't want to get anywhere near that.
You know, and then you got Tyron Woodley, a wrestler. I remember him in college. And then I remember Johnny Hendricks, too, in college. All of us came up at the same time. And then Tyron gets beat by another wrestler, Kamaru Usman.
Right.
So it's just, wrestlers have just been taking over.
Well, they've been taking over for over 10 years now. So it's like it's like the basis of it, right? And then because you guys have that work ethic, and first of all, the weight cutting actually helps, since your body's actually been used to it since high school, you know, college and all that.
We lose 10, 15, 20 pounds, sometimes more. I lost 40. I was losing 40. When I was wrestling 170, fighting 170, I'm sorry. I was dropping from 210 down to 170. And by the time I got to like 183, I was lean.
You knew exactly how I got this.
Oh, man. No, I was at about 183. I was like just so lean.
Wow.
I was like, man, this is going to be a tough cut.
Rough.
I knew it every single time. And I always knew that Thursday night before weigh-ins, I had to be down to at least 175. Most of the time, I only got down to about 176. And then I have to cut the extra 5 pounds, and
nasty.
It was hell. You know, you go,
But explain to them that process, right? Because most people think, they just, it's fight camp. No.
Oh yeah, people just think, you wake up in the morning and just go train. It's nothing like that. You know, what we do is like a regular 9 to 5. You got to grind from sun up to sundown.
Daily.
And you gotta train. You gotta do your stuff for recovery. You gotta diet the right way. And you can only get down so far before the fight, and then like that last week, it's seriously crunch time.
Right.
And Thursday night, depends on how much weight you got, you hit it hard. Most people have about 15 pounds still. 10, 15 pounds.
You guys don't.
Since when I was, like I said, when I was fighting 170, I got down to about 175, 176 the day before. But that whole time, I even water loaded, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I was still dry.
Wow.
I was still dry. I was in the sauna, just
trying to
sauna suit, everything, head covered, and sweating.
Rough.
Yeah, it's rough. But it's just, you're not just in there by yourself. You got like 6 other guys in there.
Yeah, just keeping
it's like
your mind out of there.
You may have 3 or 4 other fighters, and they got their boys in there doing it with them, or their coaches. Everybody's in there is like motivating each other. But the moment you hit that weight, you're out of there. You're out of there. You don't waste no time. You don't sit there and try to have a conversation.
Nah, hit that scale.
Yeah, I'm done.
Official.
I'm done.
I gotta go.
Yeah, I'm out. But it's tough. I was in Anaheim. I took a fight on a 3 days notice or something like that. It was I was fighting. I actually went to Safeway, which is a grocery store on the West Coast, and me and my best friend Rodell, we just happened to be we got hungry that day, so we went to Safeway and both of us got a rotisserie chicken.
Okay, I've been there.
A little 5-pound rotisserie chicken, good and everything. So much protein,
Salty. All that skin.
So good. And so the fight was coming up that Saturday, and this was on a Monday. So I called my old manager, and I was like, "Hey, can I get tickets to the fight?" He was like, "Yeah." Hold up, let me give you a call right back. Calls me back 5 minutes later. He was like, "Hey, you want to fight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So I got off the phone with him, hung up the phone, looked at Rodell because we were still sitting in the driveway. We had literally just finished eating this chicken. So we literally like just finished eating the chicken, right? So I looked at Rodell. I said, I got to fight. He was like, when? I said, this Saturday. And I was like, damn, dude, I just ate all of that chicken, and it was 5 pounds for sure.
Easy.
Stepped on the scale. It was, how much did I weigh? I think I was 203, I think.
33 pounds.
Yeah, I think I was 203. And I said, all right, let's go. Straight to not LA Fitness, but 24-hour
Right.
fitness. Just got on
Oh
the
my
treadmill,
God.
just started running. It started coming off,
Right.
but it was the roughest.
3 days of your life.
Yeah. I missed weight that fight, but
You got
I tried.
close.
I got close, but you know, when you're in a sport like that, they don't care about how close you get. You got to be spot on.
Right.
So,
So let's talk about the sport. Let's talk about how you got into it.
Mm-hmm.
When did you decide to, you know what, this is what I want to do for a living? And when did you know, hey man, I'm good at this, right?
I decided all of that in one day.
Okay, well tell me that story.
I went to college in Susanville, California,
Okay.
and I went to Lassen Community College. Great school for wrestling. Like a lot of D1 guys went there because it's
Okay.
a 2-year school.
Right.
Even Brock Lesnar went there for like a semester. Like it was a well-known
College,
school,
right.
you know, for wrestling. And I had just finished, and my neighbor at the time kept asking me to come to his dad's gym. And I was like, his name is Moses. And I was like, you know, in this small town, you don't know anything,
Right.
you know. Fighting was the last thing on my mind. I just finished college wrestling. Just fighting just wasn't on the radar.
Right.
And my girl at the time was like, go check it out. If you like it, stick with it. And if you don't go back. And it was literally like a half a mile down the road from my spot. So I just walked there.
Okay.
Went the day she told me. I did my thing, was taking the guys down. And, you know, we were training for a couple of submissions and, you know, turns and whatnot, reversals. And I was actually hitting them on guys that, you know, had been training before. I don't know how, right now I can't really think about how good they were. I just know I was hitting some stuff on them that I had just
That
learned.
most people don't, right?
And I was like, all right, I like it. Went back to the crib, sold house, like, I love it. First words through the door, I'm like, I love it. Ever since then, training until I had a fight. Yep. Yeah.
All right, man,
I was
so-
a bouncer in Reno. I was trying to make it. That was it.
You're surviving.
Yep.
So talk to me about going from a bouncer to your first fight at the UFC.
Oh man, I was a bouncer. By the way, big shout out to Rudy Valentine, you know, at Iron Horse Gym in Susanville, because that was the first, like literally the first gym,
Your first
my
mixed martial
first
art.
gym I went
Gym,
to.
okay.
Yeah, Rudy
That's
is
awesome.
a great guy.
So
You
shout
know,
out to Rudy.
still my guy. Big shout out to Rudy and Iron Horse Gym. But went to Reno, started training for Ken Shamrock's Lions Den.
Yeah,
This is whenever they had the IFL.
I remember.
You know, started developing these teams in different states. And Ken was doing the same thing. So me and my boy Richard Montoya, we just trained for like a month straight, just hardcore. You know, I'm fresh out of college. I still got all this energy. I mean, I'm feeling like, you know, the Incredible
Invincible?
Hulk.
All right.
Yeah. So we did this tryout, and it was probably the most brutal tryout I've ever had. Ken Shamrock will run you under the ground
Really?
with his tryout.
Still had
yeah.
it because I remember. Well, everybody remembers Ken, right? But his cardio, and he just never backed down from anything.
Yeah, no, he was super tough.
Yeah,
super
he was on
tough.
another level.
Yeah,
right?
but his to be a part of his team, he wanted to he liked the fact that you were good. Of course, every I was about to say, is that me?
No, that's me.
You hold it good.
You're good.
All right. So Ken, like most coaches, everybody wants somebody that's good and athletic.
Right.
But Ken's thing was how strong mentally
That's it.
are you going to be?
What's your breaking point?
Yeah. So we were it was Susanville up in the mountains in Northern California near Chico State and like Humboldt and like all these great towns.
I like
So,
all these small little towns in Cali.
they work. We were outside at his property and we ran around his compound, up a hill, down a hill, around his house, you know, and it was summer. And where we were is like the desert, but it's up in the mountains, but it's hot.
Right.
And we ran probably 30, 45 minutes outside doing this and doing that. And you can just see people are drenched. And then we had to bear crawl up this hill. And this was along the same track that we were already running on. So the ground was hot. And Ken was like, bear crawl down and bear crawl back up. Started bear crawling down, you know, just from wrestling and kind of having common sense. You don't put all your weight on the front on your hands. So I made my way down there, but just even going down there, I looked at my hands. By the time I got to the bottom, I already had blisters on my fingers, just a little blister, you know what I mean?
Yeah, little heat.
Then made my way back up, and then by the time some of the guys got back up, you can see the skin from the palm already peeling back towards the fingers. I'm like, dude, you are crazy. But some of those guys kept going and can like appreciate stuff like that. Of course, when it comes to hitting pads and stuff, you're pretty much done because you can't hit pads. At that point, you know, you're like, they have to say, okay, we can't take you.
Right.
Because you didn't finish the tryout.
I got you.
Get in the gym, we hit pads, whatever, wrestle a little bit. And then we have to do 500 push-ups, 500 sit-ups, 500 squats.
That's your cash out?
That's your cash out. Then after everything, all day, you know, just a full day of like activities and like crazy stuff.
Right.
You know, fireman carries, like running, like just anything
Insanity.
to break you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those last 500, 500, and 500 were the worst because you're already dead.
You're broken.
And you got to do 500. And you know, you try and do, for instance, 25 each. You know, no. Once you start, you try and go ahead and get as many as you truly can, and then you go to something else.
Right.
Depends on who it is. Some people are just crazy and want to just keep going no matter how tired they are. I had to mix it up, but I did it.
All right.
And it was only probably about 6 of us that completed the entire training, but I think about 20 of us went out. Yeah, it was pretty sick.
Okay.
You know, but those guys showed how tough they were, and Ken really appreciated it.
It's awesome.
Then after that, I ended up getting kicked off of Ken's team doing dumb shit. Sorry. And,
it's okay. You can curse it.
And but that's the past.
So, yeah, but that's life,
you know,
man.
Yeah, I was young. I did some dumb stuff, and I'm not proud of it. And you know, I've apologized, and if I apologize, I mean it. You know, I'm not the type of guy to really apologize unless I truly know I did something wrong. Right. After that, I moved to LA and I joined Shootbox USA. Okay. That's when Vanderlei Silva, Shogun, like Shootbox was on top of the world. You know, it was them and Brazilian Top Team in Pride. And then other than that, it was just Randy, Tito, you know. Yeah. Chuck, man. Little, you know, a couple of guys like that. So we had a U.S. chapter for Shootbox, and those guys used to come to L.A. and train with us and everything. So it was a lot of fun, and I ended up being a bouncer in L.A.
All right, so you're bouncing still?
I was still bouncing, still grinding. Trying to make ends meet.
Which is the life of most fighters.
Yeah,
right?
I even slept in the gym for a little while. I just had no money. My boy Rodell let me sleep in his gym, and then his dad ended up dying. And he asked me if I would move in right after. Look at that. So it just worked out, and I was like, dude, you have no idea how blessed I am. Ever since that day, he's been like, that's my guy. He needs anything, I got him. Okay. You know?
Loyalty, man. And brotherhood. That's all it is.
You know, he's got kids now, and like, as you know, it's crazy how
it's pretty cool to have Rumble Johnson as your uncle. You know, like, yo, you want to mess with me?
Right. Huh? You know, like if I go to Cali, I gotta see him.
Right. No.
I got a couple of best friends like that in California.
There's nothing better than having brotherhood.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we did that, and still training, and I met Josh DePont Thompson. Okay. You know, he came down, and him and I just connected instantly, and one day we got up, and you know Sean Kingston. Yeah. He had that song "Beautiful Girl" that came out. Mm-hmm. So that song was hot. You know, when it first came out, I remember that morning because we used to get up at 6 in the morning and leave by 7 to get all the way in LA because we didn't live in LA. We lived in Chino Hills. That's where the Ball brothers are from.
Right.
You know, Lonzo Ball and all those guys.
Right.
And that was like a 45-minute drive. Easy. Yeah. And we would leave by 7, get to the gym hopefully by 8. But the whole time driving, that beautiful girl was playing. And that day, my phone went dead. All right. My phone went dead. I didn't worry about anything. But on top of that, I had been drinking because I went out for the Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
And I didn't make it. So, you know, they said I didn't make it. So for a complete week, yo, I don't drink hard liquor. Yo, I was drinking Smirnoff every day, yo, killing it. I was killing it with these Smirnoff. Wine coolers all day.
Right.
So Smirnoff holler at me. Smirnoff Ice. But,
oh my God.
Man, I was drinking all week. Just once again, Smirnoffs. I wasn't trying to get drunk, but I wanted to feel something.
Right, you wanted to just soothe your woes at the time. And
I was dying hard for the Ultimate Fighter. Whenever they called me, I was actually 176. You know, because I wanted to be prepared.
You were ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, screw it, man. I had trained and prepared for this for 3 months, and I didn't get it.
Woe is me.
Yeah. The week went by drinking Smirnoffs, and like I said, back to that morning, and that day my phone went dead. We get back home. This was probably about 7, 8 o'clock at night. And Rodell comes downstairs and he was like, hey, you got to call Josh right now. Because Josh is like, hey, you need to call your old manager and stuff. I don't want to say his name because he...
Yeah, no.
You know,
he's done. Exactly.
He's definitely done. And not my former manager, Glenn Robinson. Not
You're
him.
good.
Somebody else from way back in the day. Glenn is my guy.
Right.
He was like, call him. So I called him, and he was like, I got you in. I'm like,
what?
What do you mean you got me? Like, what? You just saying I got you in. You're not saying anything else. He was like, I got you in Ultimate Fight Night, I think 13 or something like that. That's whenever UFC used to have fights in, like, the Palms Casino and, like, Hard Rock. You know, it only fit, like, I guess 3,000
people. The small venues, right?
Small, you know? And I was like, are you for real? He was like, yeah. I was like, when is it? He was like, such and such a date. And in my head, it sounded like it's about 2 weeks away. Hang up the phone. I'm like, man, it was a feeling that you can't describe unless you've been in that situation, right. You know? And I was like, all right, I got a little bit of time. I just drink, you know? I looked at my calendar. It was like the next week. I'm like, oh, snap. So I just jumped on the scale and I was up there. You know what? Yeah, I was about 205 then. And I dropped all the way down to 170 in a week. Jeez. Yeah, but I was just loaded.
It was bloated. Yeah. You were bloated.
Dude, let's just call it. To the point my feet were like swollen. Yeah.
All right. So you were just holding on to a lot of water.
A whole bunch of water, and I got there, and it was actually here at the Hard Rock Casino. And right before that, my granddad had passed, so he never got a chance to see me fight live or anything like that. And I always wanted him to. My granddad, half of my family's down here in Fort Lauderdale and Pompano Beach and Hallandale.
This is home?
Yeah. So but since my granddad died, my next biggest supporter other than my grandmother was my aunt. And she lives right down here on Broward. So
you're basically fighting at home.
So, man, when I had that fight, I called her instantly, and she was there. And I felt like I won the Super Bowl because I knocked the guy out. I'm in the UFC. I knocked the guy out in 13 seconds. My granddad wasn't there, but then my aunt was there. So it all felt like
everybody was
supposed to happen that way. You know what I mean? So that was like probably my most emotional moment. I wouldn't say my proudest, but my most emotional moment.
That's amazing.
After that, you know, I remember, we came there, me, Higan Machado, and Rodell, and we came there with my boy Knox, the company called Knox, and that's my best friend Damon's company.
Okay.
And Damon and I met through mutual friend at the gym. It just happened that way. And we came there with a regular, white T-shirt. We ironed our sponsorship names on there, dude. Like we had nothing,
Right?
Like
That's where the
literally
beginning.
nothing. You know what I mean? We was starting from scratch,
Right?
And
And the UFC wasn't the UFC.
They weren't. Yeah, it wasn't what it is now.
Right,
By
yeah.
far.
Right.
And hey, I got what I think my first fight was. I want to say 12,000.
Wow.
12 or 16,000. Now you got guys starting like 25, 50 or something like that. Depends on who you are.
Right.
And I just remember, dude, we came in there, white T-shirt, everything
Ironing.
ironed on, and like Jesus didn't tap, and Condom Depot, and like tap out, and like, you know what I'm saying? It was everybody, like
The real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
wow, I haven't heard the tap out name in a while, dude.
Yeah, so it was that, and I just remember standing there, and Bruce Buffer said, "Kid, you just became a superstar." He said that to me. I would never forget that. I just remember looking over my shoulders, and he said that, and I was like, it was like surreal.
And then let's talk about the rise. Let's talk about the rise of Rumble, because that's what, dude, your name was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had fight after fight, big punches. And then you had that big kick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who was it with the kick? Brazilian guy, was it Brazilian?
No.
Curly haired.
When I knocked out Kevin Burns with a head kick.
That's the guy.
I knocked out Kevin Burns with a head kick because he poked me in the eye the first time we fought. He split my eyeball open.
Oh, so
On
you had a
national
little
TV, Spike
okay.
TV, when they had Spike back in the day. We were at the Palms again, and
right.
I had, everybody.
A little resentment.
Yeah, but that fight was a good fight.
It was a great fight.
Kevin was tough. Even the first fight, he was super tough. I just happened to be more athletic and had more tools, but he was by far probably one of the toughest guys because he stayed in your face. I hate guys that just stay in your face. Nobody wants anybody just staying in their face. I don't care how
keeping
tough
pressure. Yeah, no one wants to keep. Yeah,
I like putting pressure, and I still hate being in people's face. And the whole fight, right before the fight, Steve Mazzagatti had told me, "Don't talk to me or say anything to me during the fight. If you want to say something in between the rounds."
Okay.
Dude, I'm not trying to think about talking to you. I'm trying to catch my breath. Listen to my corner and see what I got to do next for the next round. But the whole time, Kevin was poking me in the eye. And then the last time, and he had like 3 combinations, which is
great,
easy to remember.
Right.
I saw the combination coming and I slipped it, but when I slipped, the hand that he kept poking me in the eye went this way, like a jab, because he went for a jab and an uppercut.
Right.
So when he threw the jab, I slipped this way because I saw the uppercut coming. I just, once again,
you knew it. You knew it was coming.
But when I slipped, his finger went in my eyeball to the second knuckle, came back out. And I went this way. I went with the uppercut.
Right.
I screamed. And you see in the video, the guy looks at Steve, and Steve
does nothing.
Steve is like this because he didn't see anything because my left hand was up blocking. So he didn't see the eye poke. And I screamed and I hit the ground and they stopped the fight and I turned around and Steve was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Dude, he poked me in the eye."
In the brain, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. He touched my brain, And everybody, my boy Everlast was there. You know who he is, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was there, and they were booing and booing and booing because they put it up on the big screen, and you see his finger going in my eye. But at that point, they had already called the fight off.
Right.
And they gave me a TKO. They said I got TKO'd. And I tried to change that whole, overturn it and everything.
Right.
The commission wouldn't give it to me. So I had a rematch with Kevin. Like, I had eye surgery.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I had stitches in my eye. And so sometimes when I had the stitches, I would see little brown spots.
Right.
Dude, and it was crazy because it was always in the corner of my eye, the brown spot. And so when I look around, I would see the little brown spot, and I would always think it was a rat. So I was always jumping for no reason like that.
Well, welcome to the fight game, right?
So that happened, and I recovered. They gave me a rematch with them, and when I say I trained like no other for that fight,
that was it.
I was training like Rocky. I was doing 10.
Rocky 4.
I was doing 10 of everything, like extra.
Okay.
I was just in that zone and just going. I fought him, and it was a tough fight. We both knew it was going to be super tough, and just the first punch, both of us threw a jab, and we stepped into it at the same time. and both of our heads snapped back, and we took like 2 steps back. And I just remember telling myself, I said, "Oh hell." I said, "I'm in a fight now." Man, we fought though. We fought.
No, you guys did good, man.
Yeah, and I ended up, he threw the same combinations, and I ended up just catching with a head kick while in the middle of his combination.
I had never seen you land a head kick.
Me either. I didn't even know I was going to do the head kick, dude. I just happened to throw it and it landed. I don't even do it in practice.
Dude, I used to watch your fights with my best friend Joao, and he was like, did AJ just throw a head kick? Has he ever even thrown a kick? It was insane.
Yeah, that day I was like, oh, I can throw head kicks. And I threw one. Because the whole time I was practicing low kicks.
All right.
And then at that split second, I threw a head kick and didn't even plan on throwing a head kick. It just happened. I was like, Jesus, that was perfect timing. And he dropped, and that was it. That was it. Well, we had a fight. I think I broke his orbital. I was out.
No,
for blood.
you guys banged for sure.
Yeah, but he's probably the toughest guy I've ever fought.
Another fight that really comes to mind is the Nogueira fight.
Yeah, that was good. That was fun for me. It was fun, you know. I had my
because there was a lot of talk. There was a lot.
Nogueira talks, but he doesn't talk a lot. You know, he's a black belt Brazilian guy. He's real
everybody
cool.
Knew that what his game plan was to take you down.
Yeah,
and he was gonna own you on the floor.
Of course, he's a black belt. I would have. His black belt, his jiu-jitsu is so far beyond mine. It would have been no competition. I would have held on for a few seconds and then been done.
Yeah,
he's good.
Oh, wait. Well, they're all good.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's talk. So again, wrestling. We go back to wrestling, takedown, defense. Mm-hmm. Then we talk about you develop your strike, right? Which is what you're famous for. You're famous for dropping bombs.
Yeah.
That's it. Drop bombs and follow through gorilla punches.
I remember, that too.
All right. Those are your two.
I remember the day I actually started punching back. You know, people say fight back. You know what I mean? Yeah. I remember that day I started fighting back. I was getting beat up in the gym in LA because I could only wrestle, you know? Right. George Oliveira was like whooping me left and right. You know, he was more experienced than me, right. Obviously. Straight out of Brazil. Like, he already had some stand-up. He had definitely jiu-jitsu. He just didn't have the wrestling. So I would beat him with the wrestling, but other than that, that's all I had. And I was like, you know what? He whooped my ass pretty good one day. And I just remember I was about to get in the shower. You know how, like, you see these movies, like, little kids, like, looking in, like, the mirror and shit, and, like, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna whoop some ass. So that was me. I was, like, about to get in the shower, brother, and I remember, like, I leaned over and looked at myself in the mirror, sinking, water still running, like, everything. I was hot. I said, tomorrow I'm fighting back. Hey, I just started shadow boxing in the bathroom before even getting in the shower. I was preparing, like, what I was gonna do. I remember just throwing wild punches, and I was like, something's gonna connect. And the next day, we sparred. Dude,
you rung him?
I was swinging for the fence. Ever since then, though, I got his respect, and my stand-up level went up.
Confidence
because I got
up.
more confident in myself. So ever since that day, I was like, I gotta knock people out. I gotta fight.
But that's what you're known for. You're known for, well, there was a time where you owned most KOs in the first round, or you still have that?
Yeah, I think I'm tied for like number 2. Thiago Santos is like number 2, something like that. He's a beast. He is a beast.
He's a monster.
Yeah,
right?
He's a beast.
But again, this is what I'm talking about. You owned that record for quite a while because it was like, oh shit. At that time, McGregor wasn't taking people out. It was just like big punches, big hits, guerrilla. I just remember you hitting people. You know they're out, but you have to finish the fight. And it was just huge gorilla punches.
That's just me, though. But when you get
that instinct,
you keep going, but you still have it to a point where you know when to stop.
Right? No.
You know,
well, you never landed more than 3. Yeah. You would always 1, 2, and that's it, and you would walk up.
I never wanted to like seriously. Like, if I knew they were out, I never wanted to like seriously hurt anybody. But I'll give you 1 or 2 more just to make sure.
Make sure you get that win.
That's it. You know, but if I knocked you out and then like the ref jumped on me to stop me, I never ran back to get some more.
No. I've never seen anybody hold you back. I've never seen anybody pull. That I'll give you.
Yeah,
right? You just land those 2, sometimes 3, and then you would just get up and do your thing.
Yeah, you know, you got some knuckleheads that will keep going.
That's just the game, right? Yeah. So let's talk. So stardom happens. You move down here permanently, And you started training down here, correct?
Yeah. Started training at Imperial.
Right.
Right in Boca. So it was, I think it was about maybe eight to 10 of us. You know, me, Michael Johnson, Jay-Z, George, Rashad, and then Tyrone Spahn came along, and Alir Latifi was around, and Bigfoot was around for a little bit. A guy named Lewis Kane, he was in UFC too. He was around for a little bit. So we had some guys that were well known, but still young, and we were trying to find our way.
What was that? What was the plan, right?
We just took a chance and just started over.
Okay.
Honestly, everybody just packed up and just started over, and that's what happened. We started with Glenn once we came here.
Right.
And it was like we were a bunch of hot-headed, fun guys that just wanted to fight.
Okay.
Just have fun and fight.
So at this point, you're what, 20-something?
20, I would say 28.
Okay.
28, 29, yeah, 28.
Loving the game, doing the deal.
Yeah.
Life is good during the game. Then, what made you jump? I want to know. Because that was a big thing in your career when you jumped.
Yeah. I missed weight 3 times in the UFC. Then they cut me. I've seen guys miss it 5 or 6, and they kept them around. I missed it 3, and my 3rd time I missed it, I was fighting Vitor Belfort in Brazil, and that was a crazy time, and they cut me.
All right.
They cut me before the fight had even started. You know, at that time I was hoping that they didn't cut me, but in reality, I knew they had already done with me. And
well, those are hard matches, right? You're fighting in Brazil. You're fighting hometown hero.
Yeah, it's a lot of things, but I still take the blame for it.
Okay.
For everything that happened. I'm not pointing a finger at anybody.
No,
No, I'm saying it just.
Be clear.
Just being clear. Yeah, it's all me. It's not the UFC. It's not anybody else. It was me.
Okay.
On the flight back home, Henry, who my striking coach, and we were sitting on the flight drinking wine. We were like, dude, we have nothing to lose. We pretty much said fuck it, and we talked for, I think the flight is like 6 or 7 hours, maybe 8. And from the time we took off to the time we landed, we were talking about what we wanted to do, what we were gonna do.
Okay.
And we made a pact to hey, come back stronger. And that's exactly what we did. From that point on, I think I was on a 8-fight win streak by the time I reached my first title shot. I was on an 8-fight win streak. Me and Henry was just like, we did what we said we were gonna do. We said we're gonna come back and
own it.
And
you did.
We did. I can't say I say we because we all were together. And it just pissed me off because even Dana White was like, he'll never be back in the UFC again. So that just made me train even harder. So every time I fought in UFC, once I got back, I fought harder just to prove Dana wrong.
You belong there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to prove him wrong. You say some crazy shit like that about me, I'll come back. Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
All right. I like
that's
it.
Me. I don't care.
But that's your mentality, right? It's
me.
always been.
I don't care what type of boss you are, how much money you got. You say something like that about me, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
I like it.
He lucky I didn't bet him on that. I'd be rich right now.
All right, so you make it to your title shot, man. Yeah. How did that feel?
It was great. It was great
because it was a comeback.
Yeah.
Right? It was a big comeback because a lot of people didn't want you there.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah. Well, after I was on a 5-fight win streak. A lot of people knew that, so they were excited. The fans were excited I was coming back. You know,
dude, you've always been a fan favorite. You're like one of those good guys at WWE, right? Everybody loves.
I just didn't know if the other fighters want to be back. So my first fight, I had Phil Davis. He was ranked number 5 in the country, in the world.
In the world,
country.
Yeah.
And I was ranked 14th. I went in there and whipped his ass for 3 rounds. Ended up being ranked number 6 after my first fight. Then I fight Nogueira, knock him out. And then
Nasty, not one of my favorites of all time.
and then I fought Gustafson, and that just took me all the way up to.
Well, that solidified.
That solidified who I was, and then I had to fight with John, and then his situation happened, and then they said, "Okay, will you fight Daniel Cormier?" And I'm like, "It's a week and a half away from the fight, dude. Like, yeah, let's fight, man. I didn't train this hard
to just
I gotta
not
do
take
something.
this shot, right?
I gotta do something."
I get it.
And he beat me. Plain and simple.
Okay.
I'm not gonna make any excuses. I could come up with every excuse possible.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, and just answer it how you want, man.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did you let that fight mess with your head a little bit? Did you run that fight in your head constantly, or
after I lost that fight, I wasn't still not used to losing. So when I lost, when I lost, it made my head like spin. I was like, all right, what's next? A lot of guys get a title shot and they don't know how to come back from it. They feel probably mentally, that's the way I see it. They get that one title shot, they get beat up. After that, they're like, I don't have it.
Right.
I don't have what it takes to be a world champ. And they never make it back to a title shot again unless you're Frankie Edgar, or Jose Aldo.
right.
But those are superstars. They are
One percenters.
Yeah, exactly. Best way to put it right.
One
there.
percenters.
And I was just going back at it. I was like, screw this. I'm not a loser.
And this is why I love the fact of your story, man, because it's the come up. You've hit it, lost, you come back, and now we're on the verge of another one here. I want to talk about that because I could talk to you for days, bro.
Let's talk. Let's talk, man.
We can make this a 2 episode. Let's wrap.
Talk. So I
So what's the mindset? Okay, so you just went to the top. You got the title fight. It didn't work out. You're not gonna let this beat you. What's the mindset of Rumble at that point?
I knew if I trained hard, everything was gonna work out. Okay. It always does for me. That's why I train so hard. When I train, I'm not saying this is the way the fight is gonna go. I'm just training so hard that I'm trying to be prepared for whatever. Usually when I go into a fight, I don't have a game plan. Most people do. I don't. I'm like, I need to be so good that
you're ready for anything that comes. Okay.
Yeah. Because if you fight somebody, they have to adjust to your style too. So if you don't have a style, what can they adjust to?
Right.
Like I said, most people have a specific style. So nobody could really figure me out. They just knew they had to start on their feet.
Not get hit.
Yeah, that was it.
That's the game plan against you. But don't get hit.
Coming back for my second round of a title shot, preparing for it and having these fights, I can't say I was confident, but I can't say I wasn't in my head a little bit. Like, all right, I had a title shot.
And then see the doubt.
Yeah, just a smidge of a doubt because you have a little worry like, okay, let's not make the same mistakes that you made in the fight that you lost.
Right.
That's in your head a little bit. You have to have that in your head so you don't make those same mistakes.
You learn.
Yeah, and every fight I went in there with like, okay, I'm gonna whoop you, but you
gotta
know,
learn. I gotta think. Yeah. I'm vigilant. Huh?
Yeah.
Right. So you're evolving constantly.
Yeah. So I did what I had to do to get right back to the title.
Okay.
I knew I was still there, and by the time I fought DC, I was like, I think I had already checked out. I was like just burnt out mentally.
Okay.
Just.
It happens.
When you're burnt out, you kind of have no drive. You're not the same person.
No,
you're definitely not the same person. So
and you don't have that killer instinct. You're not ready.
But he beat me.
Yeah,
he beat me, and it is what it is. I can't say I lost to one of the best of all time. You know what I mean? There's no shame in that.
Absolutely.
But it is what it is.
All right, so let's talk about this going on right now. You saw this fight. on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You've been on. I'm not gonna say you're on the couch, but you were out of the game.
Yeah.
And you see this fight, and that fire just. Who'd you call? What goes on when a guy you're weighing, 70 pounds over than what you usually walk out?
I was for sure up there.
Right? Because I saw you, I was like, what?
Yeah,
right?
I was up there. Weight is just like trouble. It's easy to get in. It's hard to get out. You know what I mean? So they're both pretty
Trust
equal.
me, man. I'm on that same thing, right?
Yeah, I packed on the weight and I saw it. But the thing about it, I packed on the weight, but my body still felt
agile.
I was still moving around. I could still run. I could still jump. I could do anything I wanted to do. It may not have been as fast, but I was still getting it done.
Right.
And I just was like, when I saw the fight, I was like,
all
right, let's go. And I just started out. I didn't tell my friends that I was with, what I was thinking, because they were all about me coming back. They started hyping it up, but in my head, I was already there.
Okay, but that was just that last part.
Yeah.
All right, so who's the first call you made? How's this happen? Because I want to know how you go from the couch to losing 50 pounds in 5 months with the drive. Because, dude, this is old Rumble coming, right? This is the guy.
Man,
Dude, look at me, man. I got goosebumps, dude. I was like, what happened?
I can't remember. I probably called my best friend first whenever I decided to come back.
All right.
She's been there for me through thick and thin, 10 years. And she was down for it. She's just a big supporter,
That's what you need,
Then I
man.
told my boys, my best friends, and I told them, and they were like, hey, let's go, let's do it. They were more excited than me because we're I think it's 6 of us now. But we call ourselves the 4 Horsemen.
Okay.
We got a little WhatsApp group called Peaches and Cream.
Oh,
you know what I'm
Peaches
saying?
and
That's
Cream.
what we just a bunch of different guys that are just out there.
Okay.
But I told them about it. They were excited, and I asked my sisters and brother, and they were all in. So I'm like, okay, I got my family blessing, but I need the ultimate blessing, which is my grandmother.
Right.
I said, Ma, I said, I think I'm going back to fighting. And she said, okay. Then she sent me a text. She said, this is what you're meant to do.
Wow.
She
And that's it?
said, this is what you're meant to do. Go fight, baby. That's what she said. I didn't erase that text message. I kept it forever. And
Should
like
make the iron on that T-shirt.
Once I got her approval,
It's on.
I was like, can't nobody tell me nothing. Ever since then, nobody.
So what's in store, bro?
nobody's been
Tell
able
me
to
what's in
nothing.
store. What's
I don't
coming
know,
up, man?
We'll see, man. I got to get back in USADA pool. I was trying to do bodybuilding and stuff, so I got a couple of things going on.
Okay.
But everything's gonna be fine. I'm not worried about it. But everything's good.
It's in the works.
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Nobody's complaining. Nobody's tripping. Everybody's all on the same team. We're working around here. You know
Bro,
what
dude,
I mean?
I see you working.
Yeah.
I see,
Yeah.
dude.
You saw me
you're training
come
at
in.
the Tramp.
Yeah.
You're training and you're putting it in. You're doing it all by yourself, dude. Dedication.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is, dude. For me, it's like the good guys coming back.
And you know what? Like, my friend Erin, she had was doing the fasted cardio and all this other stuff. And I wasn't too crazy about it. I'm an athlete. I like to eat and just, get lean and burn off the fat that way. But then I started actually trying that intermittent fasting and stuff like that.
I can't be hungry.
And it
And
worked.
It melts.
It worked.
It melts fat, man.
Yep.
It does.
I get up in the morning, drink some coffee.
Black
go do
coffee straight, nothing else.
I mean, I switch it up now. I put little Baileys in there, some rum chowder every now. So I would get up because I'm one of those guys. If I fall asleep at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I still wake up at 2 a.m. and I'm
ready to go.
I'm up
I was
until
here at 4:15 today. I was like, I guess I'm gonna do some cardio.
something,
Yeah.
So I get up and like I said, get some coffee. Go in the bathroom, turn my music up, and I have a medicinal marijuana card, so I'm in the bathroom getting psyched out
Right.
and
Doing your thing.
doing my thing, and getting dressed, and then I'll go hit the cardio.
Okay.
Zone out.
That's it.
That's what I do. I zone out, got my headphones on, and a zone for an hour.
Okay.
Sometimes I will walk, but I'm walking at a high pace.
No,
You know, and then the next
fat
time
burning zone.
Exactly. And then next thing I'm doing, I'm jogging for 30 minutes, 45. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm constantly
Pushing it.
doing a little bit. Because when I first started doing this, first month I was just walking.
Because that's all you could do.
That's all I could do. I was so big. If I ran 10 yards, I was like, felt like I had a heart attack. You know, that's one thing when you're trying to be a bodybuilder. The cardio,
gone.
Straight gone.
Power there, no cardio.
That's it, man. That's it. And within the first month, I lost 10 pounds, something like that, and you can see it. And I was like, okay,
that triggers.
Yeah,
It's
I
doable.
pushed myself a little bit more. Was eating good.
You're moving faster though.
Yeah,
I see that now.
Yeah.
Like I saw you shot it vaccine the other day. He's like, oh man.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's back to being smooth.
So what are we looking at weight wise? What are you gonna do?
Man, I weighed the other day and I was 233.
Okay.
And the way I look now, as lean as I am, I wasn't this lean whenever I was fighting 205.
Right.
You know, around 230, I was still pretty, like, you know, you can tell where the fat was for sure. You know, I mean, it wasn't sloppy, but you can see where it was at.
Right.
I'm 233 now, and I'm leaner than.
Well, you're a little top heavy
Yeah.
now. You got it a little full.
Yeah, since I was doing
bodybuilding and all that,
stuff,
so you
I
just
packed on
redistribute, yeah.
Yeah, so beginning of February, I'm gonna do a little test run and see how low. Yeah, see how low I can get.
205 action, all right.
Just to see how low I can get, and I do believe I can make 205, but I also believe it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge. But I'm down for a challenge. The day I told myself I was doing this, I meant it 1,000%.
Man, I'm so excited to see that.
Yeah,
man.
I'm ready
it's
to
gonna
go.
be great.
I'm ready to go.
Man, I wanted to say thank you, man. This is the most excited I've been in a podcast.
I had fun.
Man, forget about fun, man. I've been watching you for years, man, and dude, I'm gonna brag about it too. I'm gonna be like, in fact, we're gonna take a pic.
And I do want to thank you for letting us train here, man.
Buddy.
You know, there's so many gyms we could have trained at, but you let us train here, man. You've been treating me, Kamaru, and Corey Peacock like.
Bro,
awesome.
This is what we do, man. This is what we do together. People coming up, and everybody loves seeing you here.
Yeah.
The energy you guys bring in here, and of course, you know, a lot of people fanboy. I was like, "Yo, is that AJ?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude."
And the thing about it, when I'm here, I don't even feel like.
No, everybody's cool.
Everybody's
man.
cool.
This
But
is
I'm
home.
saying this to me. I see them. I'm like, oh snap, that's a boxer. Oh snap,
Yeah.
that's a tennis player. I'm doing the same thing they're doing. You know
Exactly,
what I mean? So
man.
it's like it's all love here, man.
Yeah,
I like
the other day, man, it was funny. We had Coco, we had you, we had the chat. We're like, dude, you got everybody. I was like,
crazy,
dude,
right?
everybody's here comfortable. It's great. But the energy, man, you bring in, I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for
You
having
made my
me.
day, my week. Dude, great year to start the podcast with, you know, AJ Rumble Johnson. Man, thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Dude, I fanboyed out right now, my bad. All right, man, thank you. Let's go
bro.
take some takes.
Yes, sir.